So with that, we can let's start with a brief introduction for those who may not know Mike. Mike, if you want to share with the attendees here a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I think most of the attendees here are the AE advisors, if I'm not mistaken, right? So most of them already know me from different AE events. But hey all, if you don't know me, I'm in Austin, been with AE forever. I end up testing a lot of different programs that you all send me or talk about in AE Insiders. And this was one that I came across. Someone was asking about it, wow, maybe 6 months ago or something at this point. So I dove in, checked it out, and by far favorite planning program I've ever come across. Absolutely love it. Replaced Retirement Analyzer, use this now. And I know as we dive into it, if you're not familiar with it, you're going to really find a lot of value.
Well, thank you, Mike. And how long have you been in the business? This is Advisors Excel as a whole. So maybe they already know that about you.
Yeah, almost 30 years. And yeah, just so you know, pretty much if they're at AE, odds are pretty good they kind of have seen me around or know me. So hello to all of you, my friends out there.
So you are the Oprah of
I wouldn't
Advisors.
go that far.
We were just joking around how his setup is very, what I don't remember what Johnny said, maybe talk show radio host, and he said he's
Yeah,
Oprah. So
I had one of my daughter-in-law's like an interior designer. She came in and set this up for me, so it looks great.
it does look
So I
great.
cheated.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll pass it over to Johnny, and Johnny will be conducting a demo, and then we'll follow it up with the discussion. But as I said, it is recorded, and if you have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A. So Johnny, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your time. Johnny Poulsen, live in Denver, Colorado. I'm one of the two co-founders here, but you can probably hear this is not where I grew up, so let's get that out of the way. Grew up a little east of Texas in a little kingdom called Denmark, so that's where the accent is from, but I've been here for 25 years, which sort of dates myself a little bit as well, I guess, Mike, and all of that in retirement income planning. Co-founded Income App with Justin Fitzpatrick, who's sort of unique to the business. Justin grew up in Michigan. Justin is a former academic, so he got his PhD at MIT, taught for 7 years in London, at MIT, Harvard, and UCLA. And what we do here at Income Lab is deeply seated in research he has done, specifically into research done on retirement income planning, as well as software solutions available. And what he found is there's some really smart people that can get quite nerdy when it comes to retirement income planning, because once you have to start even thinking about living off your money, it gets a lot more complicated. So you'll see people like Bill Sharp from Stanford, Robert Merton from MIT, or practitioners like a Michael Kitts, as Michael has done wonderful work as well. And it's kind of sad when you see good research that can help people, yet it's not available on a software platform. So we kind of set out to bridge that gap. But I was talking to Mike in preparation for this meeting, and we were talking about this book, Die with Zero. And so if you haven't read it and you're in the retirement business, which I believe all of us are, I highly recommend it. It's by Bill Perkins. And it's sort of a unique way of thinking about what we do for a living. So the first thing Bill would do is he will sort of start out by defining how he defines life itself. And so he would say with you, Mike, as you know, he'll say your life could be defined as the total sum of all the experiences you've had. And attached to every single one of those experiences are these memory dividends. And for me personally, it made me think about my wife's 40th birthday. We kind of checked off a bucket list item. We flew down to Peru. We hiked the old Inca Trail into Machu Picchu. It's a 4-day hike, 3 nights in the jungle. And it was amazing. The food, the people, the culture, the history, of course, and the nature. It was mind-blowing. And that experience will forever stay with me. And Bill Perkins will argue that as I share this story with you, those memory dividends actually grow in importance for me. And I believe that to be the case. I do believe in that way of looking at life. And it's really interesting as we look at our business, clearly the baby boomers have sort of redefined everything they've been doing in America, from getting to disposable diapers to where we're at today. Today, they actually control more than half the wealth in America. They're age 60 to 78 and right in the spot where we like to conduct our business. And if you ask those baby boomers, what is important to them, the first thing you'll say is not run out of money, which makes sense. I mean, that just sounds horrible to run out of money. And that's, of course, our business to make sure they don't. But the next piece is really interesting. After that, it gets to the sweet spots. It gets to these memory dividends, right? It gets to living the best life given the resources we have and the time we have left. And for the average baby boomer, legacy is actually not something that's of great importance. You know, typically we hear stuff like, yeah, if something is left, we certainly will give that to our kids. But the plan is for us to live the best retirement we can. And so kind of makes me feel a couple of things. Maybe that means that your job description is not financial advisor or financial planner, but you're in the business of helping people live the best possible life they can live. And in order to do so, we got to use a tool that actually allows us to give that sort of advice. And that is really what Income Lab is all about. Well, all of that said, let me share my screen with you. And let's get started with the actual demo, and then let's get it over to Mike, which I believe is what most of you guys probably want to hear. Taylor, can you tell me, can we see my screen now?
Yes, we're good to go.
Perfect. This is sort of our main dashboard at Income Lab. And we believe it's sort of what clients would want to know on a regular basis. We're definitely a quant shop here at Income Lab based on the team from MIT, but we also believe that software should be easy to use, easy to understand, and most importantly, easy for you to explain to your clients. Again, we believe this is the sort of information your clients would want to know. So based on integrations, you can get updated portfolio balances. Spending capacity, most softwares will ask you, how much would you like to spend? And what we've found from clients is that is not really the question they want to get. They want to know from you, the advisor, based on everything we know about them, not just their portfolio, but Social Security. In this particular case, they have a rental property. How much can they afford to spend? What is our retirement paycheck? And this is where Income Lab is fundamentally different. Most software plans in a world where we're talking about probability of success, and we're not a big fan of that, people don't either pass or fail in retirement, they adjust. And probability of success actually mathematically assume that you will never make an adjustment, which we find to be completely unrealistic. We call these guardrails. The green is the upper guardrail. The red is the lower guardrail. You can see if their portfolio goes from 2.23 to call it 1.75. We're going to say it's time to tap the brake a little bit. In dollar terms, by $700 from 11,000 to 10,300. Very different conversation. At this point, Income Lab is being used at a lot of the major universities around America as part of the curriculum for retirement income planning. A couple of them are in New York, so if somebody's calling in from New York, both NYU and Columbia uses Income Lab when they teach this retirement income planning. One of the professors we work with at Columbia, his name is Mike. Mike has his own RA where he used to use eMoney. He's now using Income Lab, and he'll tell you it has profoundly changed the conversation he has with his clients. And the example he typically will use is that of the fourth quarter of 2022. I'm sure you remember it felt like inflation was getting completely out of control. The markets were down deep. And he said his clients were getting nervous and they wanted to know, are we going to be okay? And the answer cannot be, well, your probability of success went from 90 to 65. That's not going to help anybody sleep better at night. And at least at the time, none of his clients actually hit the lower guardrails, but some were getting sort of relatively close, which allowed him to take the conversation one step further and say, if this were to get worse and your portfolio dropped down and hit the lower guardrail, this is what we're going to talk about, spending $700 less a month, which is about a 4% adjustment to their income. So at Income Lab, we believe the conversation, let me see here, so can somebody play a little trick with the platform? Apologize for that. So we believe at Income Lab that the conversation in retirement should not be a pass-fail conversation, but rather a conversation around the clear trade-off between how much you spend today, the likelihood you would have to adjust at some point in the future, and the dollar impact to your lifestyle. You can see the bookends of the guardrails. Maybe your clients have done so well, they can spend at a level where they are much closer to the upper guardrail than the lower guardrail, which means their portfolio would have to drop quite a lot, in this case by $890,000 to get a relatively minor adjustment to their income. Maybe they're more like me and sort of the die with zero sort of thought process. We would rather spend some money today to create some of these memory dividends, but we're also closer to the lower guardrail, so we're more likely to have to make an adjustment. There's no right or wrong. It's just that clear trade-off between how much you spend, the likelihood you have to adjust, and the size of those adjustments. And the next piece we can do is then stress test these plans and say, what if we were to retire into a wrong sequence or a bad sequence, like the global financial crisis? We have our retirement stress test here. The default for the stress test is the global financial crisis. You will see here, US stock market's down by 50%, unemployment hit 10%. Here, the light blue area is what we plan to spend when we built the plan. The dark blue line is the actual income experience we would have had following this particular plan. You will see by February of 2009, the plan called for an adjustment of $800 from 16.6 to 15.8. Now, nobody likes to get a pay cut. I get it. But given what was taking place at the time, the market being down by 50%, I think this would have been perceived as good news to most people. And it was temporary. By 2014, the market had recovered. We had spent slightly above plan. By 2017, we're in a bull market and we can spend $2,800 more than what we planned for. You can go down here and see how the guardrails would have worked. The green is the upper guardrail, the red is the lower guardrail, and the blue is the portfolio balance. As you can see, by February of 2009, the portfolio drops down and hit the lower guardrail, hence the adjustment. Sort of in the white area here, we call it the no change land for a period of time until we hit the upper guardrail and we can spend more. You have the ability to go back and test out different periods of time, the dot-com bubble, the Great Depression, and so on. Now, I am partial. This is my baby. But I am telling you, the feedback we got from the advisor community, this, by the way, won the largest advisor tech contest in 2023 in Atlanta. And the feedback we got was pretty exceptional. I remember one particular gentleman called me, and he's literally laughing. He's saying, Johnny, I got to share this story with you. You see, I've been working with this couple for 3 years now. Their number one goal in life is retire as soon as possible. Financially, they're ready. He said, every single time we're about to pull the trigger, they would freak out. And he said, you should have seen the change in their attitude when they saw that. It felt like he could see a physical weight lifted off their shoulders. Of course, we can make minor adjustments. Now, the next piece to this is we added some advanced capabilities around annuities. And so we're going to test out here, what if we were to buy, say, a fixed index annuities or a variable annuity or just a fixed annuity in here. In this particular case, you can have as many plans as you like. I took $500,000 from the 401k, put it into an RIA, and bought a fixed index annuity right here. And we're going to see how that's going to impact their income experience. Well, quite significantly, right? With $500,000 invested into the fixed index annuity, they never saw pay decrease during this period of time. But maybe you want to compare the two plans. So now I'm going to pull out their current plan that has no annuity in it. That's the yellow line. The blue line is the one with the annuity. As you can see, a lot less downside volatility on the blue line, but also at this point, you would actually been able to spend $3,200, not even factoring in that, of course, the $500,000 is guaranteed for life. You can check out the dot-com bubble. Even more significant here, you would have been able to spend $4,900 more with the fixed index annuity. And, you know, we believe when we talk about annuities, we kind of use this jargon. What's a step up? What's a cap? What's a participation rate? All of that sort of stuff. That doesn't make a lot of sense to clients, right? What they really want to know is, how is this going to impact my journey through retirement? How is it going to impact my income experience? And that is exactly what you will see here. You can also look at the annuity on its own. So just the $500,000 invested into the annuity. As you'll see here, it's a pretty nice, right? No doubt, you know, downwards adjustment, only upwards. You'll also see that the account balance would have gone to zero in this particular case, but that's the benefit of this particular annuity. Even though the account balance went to zero, you would see their income would have continued to go up. You can go down and get the data behind the scenes here, the balance, the benefit base, the withdrawal rate, and the withdrawals over here. Again, you can test out different periods of times here, global financial crisis, and so on. If you're looking to compare and potentially do a 1035, you can easily pull up a second annuity here. So the yellow line represents probably the most sold variable annuity or annuity period, but it happens to be a variable annuity a decade ago. That's the yellow line. The blue line is the fixed index annuity. And here you can see it's clearly favorable to get the fixed index annuity. You will see there is a trade-off. The fixed index annuity did go to zero in terms of the account balance. There's still some account balance left in the variable annuity, but if it is an income play, clearly the fixed income annuity would have been better. Again, you can test out different periods of time here. The dot-com bubble, again, same trend from an income perspective. The fixed index annuity is clearly better. In this particular case, the variable annuity would have run out of money as well, but just later. So very easy to compare and contrast. Mike, I didn't even get to kind of notify you, but sort of the growth annuity strategy will be launched next week. It's in testing right now. So as you talk about that, I know it's a strategy you're using personally, and we will be able to model that outcome next week as well. Now, once you know how much you're going to spend in retirement, the next obvious question, of course, is what account should we take that income from to optimize taxes throughout retirement? Should we consider Roth conversions? If so, how? A lot harder to do than actually most people would think. In our tax lab, there is no additional data entry for you as an advisor. The software simply goes to work for you, and it will run all the sourcing strategies available for this particular family and then rank them from a tax perspective. In this particular case, you'll see Roth conversions to the 32% federal income tax bracket ranked the highest. We then automatically compare it to the most commonly provided advice in America today, taxable, tax-deferred, tax-free. Quickly see average savings per year of 11.8%, total tax savings throughout retirement of $1.5 million, leading to more net income and increased legacy. You can easily see all the strategies we ran, what they're projected to do to your average tax rate in retirement, total taxes paid, total net income received, total net legacy. What we hear from our advisors is clients love this. If you can save somebody $1.5 million on their taxes, they want to talk. But of course, it is a trade-off. It would mean that they would have to pay more in taxes up front, the large blue boxes, to do the Roth conversions to get their taxes under control long-term, versus not doing the Roth conversions, the yellow boxes, and seeing taxes increase as they grow older and the RMDs are going up. It's another trade-off here, right? If you choose to pay more in taxes today, your clients need to have a certain life expectancy for that to make sense, and that's the break-even point. You can then go in and explore in further details here. Think of this as a year picker where you can click on any one year in the future to see what we project your taxes to be. Once you've chosen a year, you could scroll down, see the breakdown of ordinary income on the left, long-term capital gains in the right, and Medicare, well, I should say in the middle, and Medicare IRMA to the right. You can see what is factored into the model. FICA, ordinary income taxes, long-term cap gains, net investment income, Medicare IRMA, so Medicare Part B and D, as well as state and local taxes. Medicare IRMA is a good example. It's the light green area here. You can see it kicks in early. And Medicare IRMA takes longer than taxes to get under control because you have a 2-year look-back provision for Medicare IRMA. We do hear that when people sit down with prospects, this is a very sort of strong view for prospects. It's also easily turned into a PDF directly here and emailed to someone. But again, if you have the ability to save somebody $1.5 million on their taxes, they tend to be interested in having the conversation. Want to move on pretty quickly here so we can get on to Mike. But we believe this is the last piece and a much improved client experience. Beyond sort of a typical balance sheet, you can go to any level of details all the way to the account level. You can see everything about the account, including the asset allocation and making changes here as appropriate. You can click here to get a complete one-pager of their entire financial situation, including detailed tax projections for every single year in retirement. Social Security, you can see there's a dotted line around Beth here. If you look at the timeline at the top, it's because she's not filed yet. She's planning on filing by 2028. You can click on it and go directly in and do planning from here. We have all the common ways to estimate Social Securities available. I'm going to use PIA. You can see Beth is 66, but again, you'll see how easy it is to use and how easy it is to explain to clients. The green dot here is her full retirement. You'll see her full retirement is 66 and 8 months. If she plans on filing at full retirement, she will get $3,200. For that to make sense, her life expectancy must be at least 80 and 4 months. But you can easily go to any month in retirement to see the projected increase in income as well as the life expectancy associated with that to be a good planning mode. I like to think of this as sort of a beautiful spreadsheet. It's going to tell you where we're going to fund our retirement income, retirement paycheck from this year. You see, James is taking Social Security to have a rental property, some consulting. It's going to tell you what accounts to take income from to execute on your tax strategies. Roth conversions, you can click on it. It'll tell you where to take the Roth conversions from, the dollar amounts, as well as the destinations for both spouses here. Projected income from this year of $401,000. That includes the $202,000 of Roth conversions. Projected taxes of $66,600. Now, again, I'm a little partial here, but the next feature I find to be pretty cool. You can go to the timeline and you can click on any year in the future. I'm going to go to 2040 to see what we project their situation to look like by then. Now, both of them are taking Social Security. They still have their rental property. Most of their portfolio withdrawals are coming from the Roth IRAs, projected income of $275,000. But look at their taxes now, $3,030. Now, if you sit down with a prospect, chances are very high that they haven't done this sort of planning. So you can easily go to their current plan, show them their current plan. So current plan without tax mark distribution, where they would get their income from. Total income of $343,000, but look at their taxes right now, $81,600, not $3,030. And that is the beautiful benefits of doing tax mark distribution planning. What we hear from our advisors is clients and prospects absolutely love this piece. There's something calming about being able to see everything included in a plan in one view. This is easily turned into a PDF and email to print it out for people. If you have more tech-savvy clients, this is also available in our client portal. The other two pieces I would say clients are asking for is this one. Isn't this exactly what a retiree would want to know? What's our portfolio balance? What's our retirement paycheck? What could cause that paycheck to go up and down? And in dollar terms, how would that impact our lives? With that said, Mike, I've actually run a little longer than I expected, so I want to make sure I get it over to you, and you can kind of take over the show and talk about how you use Income Lab.
All righty. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to share my screen if y'all don't mind. Hi, everybody. And check it out. I just learned something from you today. So that's kind of cool. There's part of Income Lab that I don't use that now I'm going to have to play with. Before I get started, for all of you watching, if you go to YouTube and you type in Advisor Lab, if you just hit enter, search Advisor Lab, look for this little blue circle, click on it. You will find some videos that I've created about my meeting process and all that good stuff. But notice this one right here. It is a 55-minute video of me walking through both putting someone into Income Lab and the screens that we look at pretty regularly. So for all of you, I've put a link to this video also in the chat. You are welcome to watch that for more detail. So let's go ahead and dump that out of here. So I'll pull up, this is actually a case that I use with that example that I talked about, or that I just showed you in the walkthrough. So just a couple of screens that we like to use. By the way, Johnny, I never have used the retirement stress test. I never have really figured it out, and I've never figured out how to put annuities with it. And now that you're showing me that, I can't wait to have a meeting with your team to go over that in some detail. So that looks really cool. One of the things for all of you watching that I personally love about Income Lab is not just how powerful it is, but how visually appealing it is. You know, when Johnny was talking about Life Hub, for example, if you just hit this little button here, you can really open it up and you can see it. But what's really cool to generate the report, all you do is you just click right here and you hit generate report, and you can get this whole screen. Let's see if I make this a little bigger. Like I can't even show it on a screen really, right? Because there's so much data here. But a report, you can put it on one page. That makes it really cool. But there's a couple things I wanted to show you that I use all the time that that Johnny didn't show. So here's some more fun stuff. For settings, by the way, if you click this little box up here, you can look at dollars, real terms, nominal, monthly or annual, gross or net, and include variable. This is my setup all the time. I don't like looking at real dollars because I like looking at nominal dollars down the road, monthly, net. But what's really kind of neat here is on this cash, if you click cash flows or click this box, either one, especially if you click cash flows. Here's a page that I really, really like. I wonder if there's a way I can make this smaller here. Just a minute. There we go. I really like this screen because it lays out where the income's coming from. And in this example, I've got people who are working, but then we've got Social Security and rental income and an annuity income I put in here. And then the green represents portfolio withdrawals. And a couple neat things here that you can talk about is, hey, what is your written income plan? Looks like we got a written income plan right here. And if I scroll down, there's going to be a table at the bottom. And in that table, it breaks it out in detail where all the money's coming from. So when you're trying to deliver a written income plan, there it is, beautifully done. And again, you can generate a report for someone if that's what they want. One of the things I like to focus on are two things here. I like to focus on how much income is protected or guaranteed versus how much income is at risk. And essentially any money coming out of this green section, that's the money that's at risk. And particularly if you look at this, we got a pretty good chunk at risk when they start out. And look at what happens at the death of the first spouse right here. That's what this drop here is. The first spouse dies. Look at that big old gap right there. That is a lot of at-risk income to a surviving spouse. And so the question is, what is your current advisor doing to fix that for you? Have you even seen this? And is that something you'd like to work on? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of great opportunities for solutions there, whether it's life insurance or or some type of annuity with some kind of income rider. So that's kind of cool. I love this tax page right here. This is my favorite page because what this will do is it will say, hey, let's take a look at your future taxation. And here it is. And what does that add up to? We can go to Tax Lab, and like Johnny was showing you earlier, and it will tell you, here's how much this all adds up to. And what's kind of cool is if I go to, so you see this chart here, I say, hey, what does that add up to? I mean, look at this. You're working, you're paying a bunch of tax, but look at this. You retire, not pay much tax. That's cool. But what happens here? Oh, it's RMDs. What happens here? Now it's RMDs for both of you, right? And then out here, there's a jump. What happens here? Death of first spouse, which by the way, this is super powerful. I cover this in my video, but the death of the first spouse, like if you go down here and you're looking at total tax bill, and you can kind of see here, I've got the first spouse dying in 2046, and the tax bill goes from 70,000 to 90,000. And then I can show this to someone and say, hey, look at the position you're leaving your surviving spouse in. An increase of 20,000 of tax. By the way, that number might have killed you. That might be why you died. But look at this. Look at that. Do you want to leave your surviving spouse in that kind of position? Maybe, so would maybe working on taxes be helpful? And what's really cool is like Johnny showed you earlier, you just go to the little tax lab here. Oh, shoot. It's now going to calculate on me. I thought I had already redone this earlier, so it would come up a little bit faster. But you can just show, hey, here's where you are. And here's an initial, like a first draft of a glide path for you. But again, what's really powerful here is it's going to show you the benefits you can do with tax planning in color, in pretty pictures that are easy to understand. And you can just simply ask the question, is that the type of planning you're looking for? Now, by the way, this is right here, the one thing, this is why you try to run all this before you visit with the client, so that it comes up a little faster. It is running through all kinds of calculations, so it does take a little bit of time. Whenever I'm in a meeting with a client or a prospect, and this is happening, we joke about, hey, now we have to wait for the little blue spinny circle of death, or now that we've got the blue horizontal bar of death, and we all have a little laugh over it, but people understand, hey, it's running calculations, no worries. And in this scenario, hey, look, we save this much tax. So all those taxes, what'd they add up to? 1.9 million. This is the road you're on. Now, with planning, this is what you are legally required to spend, about 570. So the difference, 1.4 million, that represents the excess tax you're paying. It's like you're giving the IRS a big old tip because nobody's helping you with your planning. And then I just say, well, what does planning look like? Well, and again, Johnny had showed this a few minutes ago, but I go here to the tax one right here, this little one right here. And I simply say, the system's telling us that probably you want to be really aggressive with converting tax. And if you do that, look where you get. You get way down here to almost no tax, again on the table. Look at this. Now, does it make sense? Let me ask you a question. Would you be willing to pay a 25% effective tax rate for a few years to get to almost zero, to get to around 1%? Wouldn't that be cool? And then look at this in 2046. Now, first spouse dies, instead of 71,000, it's 1,600. And look at the position you're leaving your surviving spouse in now. 3,000 down to 4,000. Much better scenario than what we saw earlier of 90,000 growing to 190. Is this the kind of planning you're looking for? Now, by the way, this is just a first draft. Obviously, these numbers would want to be massaged year by year, but is that the kind of help you're looking for? For those of you who are doing tax planning internally, if you want to use Holistic Plan, that's fine. Or you could just kind of go here and hit the little income tab, and it'll tell you, hey, in right up here in 2024, you should be doing about 400 grand of Roth conversions right over here. And then what's cool? What can we do? Let's go to 2025. Let's go 1 year ahead. Whoops. Am I there? Oh, I went too fast. Sorry. If we go to 2025, look, we should do about 355 of conversions in this year. And then in 2026, notice what happens. What happens if you actually look at the tax brackets, everything's been changed to the end of the Trump tax code. Now we're back to the old rules. And how much should you do a conversion that year? Only a few thousand and so on. So really, really cool. Now, by the way, I never show this page to a prospect ever, 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 ever. The only one I'll ever show to a prospect is this page. And normally when I'm in prospect meetings, I'm actually not even in Income Lab. What I'm doing is I have a PowerPoint presentation that I've built to show prospects like they're in a second meeting. Here's what we can do. And I just take screenshots out of Income Lab and drop them in there. But anyway, I just want to show you real quickly some of the things that we use that he didn't talk about. And the cash flow tab is key. Income sources and taxes. These are the two tabs. They are fantastic. They will make you money. And the other thing that Income Lab does really, really well is it will show you if I go back here. Whoops, sorry. Let's go back to this plan here. It will show you, hey, this is what you're projected to spend. This is your target. This is what you want to spend. Hey, it can also show you if you wanted to, how much you could spend each month. And that's a difference, from 11, that's like 3,000 a month. That's 35, 36,000 a year. And I like to ask them the question, look, you have the ability with planning to spend more money. You could spend 30,000 plus a year more. Over the next 10 years, that's $300,000. Now, let me ask you this. If you could spend another 300,000 the next 10 years, what's the first thing you're going to cross off your bucket list? That's the kind of question you want to ask, because now you're getting them to get excited about what their future might entail. And it's really, really cool. So I'll stop sharing for a minute. And I'm curious, are there questions that you guys have that you want to see, or how I talk about this? Because, Johnny showed you a bunch of stuff. I want to show you some things that he didn't. But I think you're understanding. I mean, look how it's beautiful. It's clients love the presentation. Like when I was with Retirement Analyzer, I loved all the data, but the presentation was ugly as can be. Here we have all the data, but the presentation is pretty, right? And remember, clients like pictures. They're not for the most part, they like pictures, and Income Lab's done a great job with the pictures.
Just a
So,
little bit, just for like the questions, how have you been, what's your experience been with your clients? What impact has it had on your business? And because you kind of went over how you're using Income Lab in your business. So just touch on that a little bit and we'll see if
oh
any
yeah.
questions today.
Oh, by the way, I don't do this for a prospect. You'll see this if you watch my walkthrough. But one of the cool things with Income Lab is once someone becomes a client, we give them access to it. So Income Lab gives you, if you put your email into the client's email in, they can log in and see their plans. So everything that you see, they can see. Now there is an option, Johnny, I'm begging you right now live to just delete this option. There is an option where you can give the client permission to go in and edit and create their own plans, edit everything. There's not a chance in the world I'm ever going to turn that on. There's no way I want clients touching this. You don't want them touching the plans. So Johnny, let's get rid of that maybe. But
We are
anyway, maybe
actually
there's,
working on that, Mike. So I got some good news for you in that.
yeah. Or
As you
maybe
probably,
if
as
you
you
let them edit, don't let them change what you do, but let them like maybe do their own thing. Anyway, for what it's worth, how does it impact the business? It makes it really, that asset map lookalike page, the one page where it shows there on the left-hand side, the income and spending on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side, the assets and liabilities and all that kind of stuff. It's basically asset map, but you can do it year by year. People love that page. They love that page. They love seeing the income and the tax stuff. Love it. And I'm telling you that it makes it from a prospect to client conversion process. When clients understand, it's easier for them to make decisions. And Income Lab's done a wonderful job showing pictures, so backed with the data, so that it makes it easier for people to understand.
We do have some questions that have come up. So there's an array of them and some people have voted them. So I guess someone was wondering how this compares to Retirement Analyzer. Sounds like it's a much better software for tax and income planning. In combination, is this a viable replacement for Holistiplan? So a couple things for you there, Mike.
Yeah. So here's my 2 cents. Okay. First, it takes Retirement Analyzer, adds on Monte Carlo, and makes it pretty. I mean, it's just we are not interested in Retirement Analyzer anymore. This completely replaces it in a significantly improved way. Do you need Holistiplan? Holistiplan has a presentation. It shows things to clients a little differently than what Income Plan does. We have Holistiplan. I have to tell you though, I haven't actually logged on to Holistiplan in probably a couple of years because I have a CPA in my office and he does that. He logs onto it every day. I don't. So I'm not really sure even anymore what Holistiplan shows. I'll probably every year we have a year end meeting where we look at all of the software stack that we use, all of our tech stack, and we bring everybody in and say, hey, here's what we're doing. Is there anything we can eliminate? I don't know. I've heard some things about Holistiplan lately about their new fee structure that makes me curious about whether I want to eliminate that. There. So that answers those 2 questions, I think.
And then just a couple quick ones for Johnny, so you can take a breath. Johnny, when it comes to are there any plans to implement estate planning and charitable giving, and then QCDs, question mark?
So charitable planning and QCDs are already available. So they're easily used on the platform. It's easily done. You could do itemized deductions. There's a lot of ways where you can customize the tax lab essentially. And I think Mike can probably speak to this as well, and he showed a lot of it. We kind of allow you to plan at a high level, and then you can kind of peel back the layers and go as deep as you want. So QCDs, charitable planning is already available. In terms of estate planning, we do have sort of a low level estate planning built into it, right? So you can tell us what you plan for in terms of a legacy. So say you have $1 million legacy, we will just plan around that and plan into that. So that could be done. I don't see us getting into sort of really detailed estate planning and try to compete with vanilla wealth.com anytime soon. That's sort of not our lane. We have a lot of stuff we still want to build out on the retirement side. As I said, we have a lot of capabilities around annuities coming out just next week. We have sort of using Roth conversions specifically with annuities. Mike, I believe you call it the growth annuity strategy. Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that their system does, you guys, what it has right now is if you have lifetime annuities, like annuities with lifetime income riders, you can input those into the system. But what they don't, what they're working on, what he's referencing is like those of us, like I don't use a lot of lifetime income annuities. Instead, I like to use growth annuities and then just take withdrawals until the money's exhausted. And so they're adding that capability on, in the near term. I should comment, by the way, for a lot of you, for some of those questions you're asking, if you want to know like a walkthrough, if you go to that Advisor Lab YouTube channel, I've kind of put up some thoughts. There's some videos there that I used to train my advisors on how we walk through our process. So you might find that helpful. There's a copy of our presentation in there. If you have questions about Income Lab, like call them, email them. They're super helpful. They're very helpful people. We are on the phone with them probably about every week or every other week because my guys come across a situation they haven't come across before and they say, hey, how do we do this? And, 9 times out of 10, it's already in the system and it's an easy solution. So, they've got a great service side.
Collectively, there's a few questions about the way you present this, Mike. So I'll kind of lump all three of them into one. How are you using this in an annual review meeting? If so, how? Talk to me like I'm a client from start on how you'd present this and how you'd close at the end. And if you can for the ACT, trying to see how to use this to convert as you are speaking now. And then I guess we'll just stop at those.
Okay, here, let me show you this. Oh, by the way, there is a question about using life insurance in here. Life insurance retirement plans, like cash funded, all that fun stuff. They do have life insurance in here. How you use it to generate, you'd have to probably plug it in as an income stream. By the way, I should say this real fast, learning how to input stuff is actually really easy. So here, I'll just share my screen real fast. I'm going to go back to YouTube for just a minute because a lot of these questions, I'm not going to have time today to answer them very well. But if you go, guys, go to this channel because see this one right here, the enhanced meeting presentation. If you were to go to this right here, up there I am looking ugly. Okay, but if you go through this, you actually see a slideshow, and you could see this is the process that we flow. We say, hey, let's talk about the income side, and then let's talk about the tax reduction side. And look at this. These are just screenshots that I've pulled right out of Income Lab. And I walk through this step by step. And in fact, heads up, this is a little bit dated now, this particular video, because we are updating it. I'm going through and updating it between Christmas and New Year's, but it gives you a good idea of the steps that I go through in a meeting and how I present the data from Income Lab and how we close at the end. At the end of this second meeting, we are closing a large percentage of the people we speak to simply because we're saying, here's what we can do for you. Is that the type of planning you're looking for? We use a combination of Income Lab and quantity. So feel free. This is not very well organized because I'm just throwing a few videos up here for my team lately, and I'm just starting this out. But heads up, I'll get it more organized as we go. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it did. One is the other one that you talked about is what is the learning curve like, and how to process the transition from RA to Income Lab.
Oh yeah, piece of cake. So, thank you. I should show this pretty quickly. I think everybody on the call will appreciate seeing this, and I'm trying to be aware of time. Whoops, I just showed the wrong screen, didn't I? Let's try again. Here, look, let's say you want to create, I'll just go to my household tab and I just want to add a new household. I'm not going to do this. I'm not here. Just add standard, right? Household name, Doe. This is the Doe family, John and Jane, right? Beautiful. Let's go with it. If you want to put their email address in, include their spouse partner. Here we have John and Doe, and he was born fine. He's male. Click it. Boom. Now we've got Jane, Doe, right? And I'm going to show this to you for just something real quick. Let's say she's born 61, a couple years younger, right? Super duper awesome. Where's my, sorry, I've got to move my, there, save and create plan. And so for those of you doing Retirement Analyzer, this is great. Are they retired or not? And by the way, my walkthrough does this in detail, so I'm not going to go through all these tabs. But what I am going to do is notice what's up here. Plan info is just information about them and great place to take notes. When we do review meetings, we are always updating, like a client plan would be 12/24, 12/24 plan update. And we basically copy and create a new plan for the update. We update everything and we put notes here as to what we talked about in that plan. Assets, all you do is you add them. Not real hard. Investments, annuities, banking, other like houses, real estate, income, add it.
Mike,
Social Security. Yeah.
If we can just go back to assets real fast, because I've gotten this question a few times. We do have an integration with Orion. And so we can bring in your clients and your assets here with linked accounts. So that is a question that we have coming up today is we do have a very robust integration with Orion to bring over households, bring over linked accounts. You can also find our integrations on our website. So just keep that in mind. Back to you, Mike.
And for what it's worth, I never use it. Which for us, we haven't really gone in depth in there and probably we should. So, but here's the other cool thing. Your income is just, look, it's Social Security. Again, watch the walkthrough video to see all this. Social Security goes here, everything else goes here. And then this little plus is key because when you click it, boom, now we've got our liabilities and you can add in your liabilities like a mortgage. And click it again and boom, we've got our savings like our 401k and our expenses and our insurances. So everything up here, just click the little thing, the little icon and fill it out just like Retirement Analyzer. It's super easy. And then when you're all done, you hit finish and it calculates and away you go. So loading, like the ease of adding someone into the system is piece of cake easy. It takes very little time.
Thank you. There is an integration with nitrogen. Yes. So another question. And we are running at the end of time, we will go over pricing. So those who have asked that, we will go over pricing. Let's see. Some people are wondering about the tax planning side. On that example that you showed, they were asking about the Roth conversions. And then if for tax planning, can the software show a tax savings of integrated DAF versus not using one?
Those are donor advised funds.
Okay. So Johnny's nodding yes. No.
Yes, we can factor that in through itemized deductions and so on. Absolutely.
Okay. I think that's, unless you have something further you want to add, Mike, we can touch on pricing and maybe have a last question.
No, I guess the last thing I would just tell everybody is here's what we have learned for what it's worth. It's easy to build a case. It's incredibly powerful, and we love that it lays out the income and the tax. For me, income and tax is everything that this does for us really, really well. That's what we're using it for right now, and it works really, really well. And it's really, really clean, and it's really, really pretty. And that matters. I cannot emphasize how much that matters. How it looks is really important, and it looks great, and people understand it. So it's easy to input, it's easy to manage, and it's easy to get a hold of someone at the Income Lab office when you come across a question. There. I like it. Easy and pretty.
Yeah. There are a few more questions. We'll maybe get to them, but let's just talk about pricing real fast. There are two sides of the house. For the IARs, there's some pricing, and then there's for the TPRIAs, there's a different pricing. So if you want an individual demo, you can contact us to schedule that demo. If you want to sign up as an IAR, you go directly to the back office and work with them on that process. If you're part of the TPRIA group, then you come to Income Lab directly. You can contact us on our website or email us at info@incomelab.com. So for the IARs, it is an annual commitment, but they have it broken up to $115 a month. For the TPRIAs, it is a 1-year commitment, but the pricing is upfront. So it's $9.99 for the first year, and then as like a introduction price, and then $1,300 after that. We do offer support staff pricing that is at a reduced cost. So $850 for the support staff, which is over 50% off our standard pricing. So $115 for the IARs per month for an annual commitment, or for the TPRIAs, $9.99 first year, $1,300 in year 2. So that's the pricing. We do have a question about your YouTube. Is there a link to that template on the YouTube?
No, and I'm not going to give you one. You're talking about the template for the, I know what they're asking for. They want the template for the PowerPoint presentation. No, make up your own stupid template. It's not that hard. Just, you guys, come on. Whatever your process is, build a PowerPoint around your process. You don't it's not that hard to build a template, guys. I mean, come on.
Second question, with the retirement analyzer, if someone is running out of money, it's pretty clear on there with the red line. Is that something that Income Lab also shows?
No, because Income Lab is going to make sure you never run out of money. Because Income Lab, what they do, correct me if I say this wrong, Johnny, I think I'm saying this the right way. Whenever you run the Monte Carlo and Income Lab, let's say you're 91% successful and 9% unsuccessful, that 9% does not mean you run out of money. What it means is you are tightening your belt and reducing your spending because in the real world, that is the decision that people are going to make. They are not going to say, let's just keep spending money and run out. No, they're going to say, oh, we're running out of money. We need to spend less. Did I say
That's
that right?
100% right, Mike. Let me just go back to the book Die with Zero. I mean, if we're in a world where we're trying to help people live the best retirement, probability of success literally removes us from being able to execute on that whole strategy. It's going to get you into what I call the regret zone, where your clients are going to wake up when they're 88 years old. They have far more assets than they expected to, and now they don't have the energies to create those memory dividends. So, no, we don't plan in terms of success and failure, because that would assume that we never make an adjustment to the plan. And we like to believe that you are going to adjust as the world around you would adjust. So 100% correct, Mike.
One circle back on the pricing. I have a couple questions that have popped up. If as the IARs, you can sign up as an individual in your office. Your whole team does not have to sign up. And then the advisor pricing, there is not a quantity discount because we've discounted the pricing so deeply for Advisors Excel. So it's per advisor pricing, and you can sign up as one person in the office, or you can have your whole team sign up. It's up to you. Okay.
By the way, I want to say it. So guys, given at $100 a month, I mean, that is so cheap. Look at everything else you spend money on. This will make you money. This is not a cost. It's an investment.
Thanks, Mike. Last question. Will Johnny be signing autographs after his first major motion picture appearance?
I'm all into that. I'm all into that. Yes, 100%.
And Mike, we didn't even touch on that. Have you used that documentary at all? Or is that something?
Yeah, I'm one of the executive producers on that. So we have used it for clients here at the end of the year. We will be rolling that out to prospects next year. We are excited for this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining. We appreciate you on our webinar today. Mike, thank you so much for sharing your time, your expertise. We greatly appreciate it. And this will be sent out as well. So,
all right. Bye, bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Mike. Truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.